Hello everyone, welcome to Game 3 of the Semifinals versus Team Colon 3 squaring off against 1-800-GOT Hellbombed. Colon 3 in the ANS Blue Trunks right now consists of Internet Spaceships, Tavi, Hive Gender, and Scapegoat as a substitution. Team 2 for 1-800-GOT Hellbombed on the OSP side in the Orange Trunks consists of Scrubbus, Blackbat, Duke of Stars, and Flynn. I will reiterate, this is the third game of the series here, so whoever wins this one is going to advance onto the finals to contest for the plushies and their grand prize rewards of bragging rights, as we all know is the most important thing ever, right? We are currently on Bulwark Naval Yards, a fun, kind of more open map here. Collection of asteroids surround the central starbase. A point and B point are going to be the naturals for the blue and orange teams, respectively. I think I said that respectively. You know what? We're just going to move on from that. 3 lanes of aggression is E point, C point, and D point are all very open, but we can see how these teams might want to deploy and destroy. We had previous games occur on Blood Moon and Gold Rush. Very interesting games on both of them. Crippling missile strikes went through on Gold Rush, deciding the match at both the midway point, and on Blood Moon, there was a 11 light cruiser rush from the Meow faction. So we'll see if they do a similar strategy here, trying to double down on that one, see if they can catch them off guard again, or going with a different set of tricks up their sleeves. Again, these are some of the more experienced players having made it this far into the tournament. They've got to have some ace up their sleeve, and I look forward to seeing what it is. All right, looks like a right side stack being favored here by the Colon 3 Meow group, going towards that D point, maybe touching the C side a little bit. OSP in turn looks like they have deployed a little bit on the left side here, got themselves a couple of assets going towards that E point and one obligatory towards the C side there. So we'll see if both teams just end up foreheading into each other on this D point side, or if they do a little bit of the kind of movement around. The score is in fact 1-1 for anyone who did not catch that initially. So yeah, this is the final game of the best of 3, and it's going to decide who will go on to the next one. We'll get some post-game commentary from the teams after it. Would love to hear some of their comments, especially after some of the interesting games we've seen so far today. Again, chat pointing out that yes, there's been so far 2 ANS wins. So let us see if this is going to be the third ANS win, or if we'll get an OSP victory. That will decide who advances. 15 seconds left to go on the board. Team 2 just taking their last second to lock in. Looks like they are trying to finalize the deployments. Oh, looks like they've fully unreadied. Having a little bit of an issue there, I guess. They are probably just having to coordinate a last second. Sometimes you have real life involved, so you have to take a quick moment. We do ask, again, people to be prompt and have their stuff ready to go, but the commenting Flynn, apparently Flynn having some sort of issue there, so we'll see if we have to rehost this or not. Hopefully not. I do enjoy seeing a little bit of the kind of banter that bleeds through for some of this. There we go. Now we're getting the deployments starting up again. There we are. Now they're ready for it. All right, let's see what we got here. We'll go through the fleets quickly and then go into the details. Already seeing a railstone by the looks of it. A rail 3 here. This is going to be a very good asset to shoot down the spine of certain vessels, such as the Acello or the Monitor. We'll just see what is on the board. We'll go through that quick and then do the details, like I said. All right, take a look. We got Tavi, our Axford pair here. Looks like they got 450 on both of them. We got a dual levy fleet coming in here from Hive Gender. Gonna probably expect, okay, yep, a couple of bombers, whole bunch of Tantos here, most likely some with the coil guns. Yep, bombers, Tantos, and a couple more Tantos. And the spaceships coming in with a, yep, that is going to be a pit boss build. Just all of the RPF maxing on this thing. No point defense as far as like, it actually does have defenders. That's a interesting adjustment. A couple of these frigates going along, looks like Cap Fleet, and then Scape coming in with a, looks like a Axford here, and then a pair of rail destroyers deployed in formation. That's the fast. We'll go through the details in a second. Blackbat coming in with the 3K Moorline here, got itself carrier set up. A whole bunch of fighters being brought in this thing, as well as a couple of these skiffs for scouting. Duke of Stars coming in with a Monitor Quartet here. We got 1, 2, 3, and 4 of them. And lastly, probably a GMing shuttle going along with, yep, good stuff. Flynn brings out a 450 broadside, 450, 250 combo. Interesting stuff there. Got themselves a little tug here. Got themselves, looks like a EWAR support to go with it. Another tug over here, probably with EWAR support. And then just 2 of these shuttles here. One with a Dazzler and a Mine Launcher. Other one with a T-20 thing. Last week we got Scrubbus coming in with the dual Acello 450 on the one, 450 on the other. Okay, that is the fleets on the board right now. We see the initial deployments going towards the A point and the B point respectively. Let's take a little more detailed look as these games going to start up here down proper. So we had seen over here a Scapegoat coming in with the rail support. I do quite like this. The little rail detachment can be quite fierce against things like these monitors and these Acellos that we're seeing here. So good tech investment, reading their opponent and expecting them to bring certain tools. Still, these things are lacking in point defense, so they can be quite effectively punished by missile strikes if they are able to be brought to bear. Solo Axford like this probably has a backpack of missiles. Yep, there we go. A couple of hybrids and a whole bunch of... You know, I'm not even going to bother reading that name. That's a anti-craft munition. We're going to leave it at that. Cap initially going off there. GG is called. Inside jokes of the Nebulous community. As soon as a cap point is touched, everyone declares that is going to be a GG. So... Now let's take a look at these cap fleets. We see internet spaceships had the pit boss there. Again, very effective against light craft. Not so good against things heavier than it. Has a little bit of trouble against its armored assets, such as these monitors or the cellos. But can do decent against a Axford, not a Axford, a Bulker. Not sure how I got that confused. Got a Spyglass frigate on the offset over here. Has a VLS-2 with some of those SDM-2s. Anti-craft munition. Got another Spyglass frigate roaming around the left side of the map right now. So it's a little gun capper device over. Interesting. Okay, little pop guns on this thing. VLS-2. Yep, more of those. Really expecting enemy craft here. Interesting stuff here. Got another one of these things. I'm liking this frigate tech. Frigates have got some interesting power to them. And like we said before, there's the naked cappers going off there. Both teams kind of lighter on the capper assets, but they do bring the tools that they need to the board instead of just investing in all this like little different pieces of tech and frontline power. Duca Stars and Scrub is most likely going to be pairing up here. Yep, you see the monitors deploying next to those Acellas here. Acella is very good at seeing off some of the enemy munitions, such as the hybrids that we had seen brought in a couple of those backpacks. So see just how effectively they are able to kind of protect this monitor ball. In game 2, we saw a monitor ball get heavily punished, so we're just going to find out how many of those missiles get through or not, but... yes, hello, Arrow. Nice to see you tuning in. Just looking over the chat. Fellow streamer personalities coming out here, just checking out what things are happening. Hopefully I didn't miss a raid. Did I? No, I don't think I did. All right. Phew. No, actually, I did miss a raid. Ah, damn it. Sorry, Arrow. Nice to see you get in there. But yeah, I have alerts turned off right now as we are doing tournament-y stuff. Anyways, Twitchy side of things said and done. We're going to see some SGM-2s fired off here from the multi-mission tug here. This thing got a size 2 launcher on the belly and also has a talisman launcher up top here for extra payload. That's kind of a nice little tech there, as jamming provided as well. I believe from the shuttle. Yep, shuttle with the Omni soft kill suite. These missiles going to find their way in here. Looks like it. Yep, command validator will work, and this will be a... Sir? What? Okay, that happened. I don't know if that's a desync issue or what. One of them on the go-around. Explain? Okay, I have no idea how that happened. I think they must have lost track to it or something, otherwise getting juked. That is odd. Okay, a couple of CMD missiles following up, immediately going to go into the rock over there. E-point is going to be capped here in a second by Flynn moving on their asset. I have no idea how that happened. Vulture Flight Airborne has coil guns and some SDM-2s. Let's see if these size 2s get on target or not, corkscrewing their way onto him. Sometimes you get a little bit of missile desync, but that's a new one for me. I don't know what Phantom Ghost tech they have invested into. Decap will go through, apparently, for that. The 450 here, not very effective at seeing this off. Secondary batteries of the T-30 is going to be effective at killing this thing. Was kept alive by the aux steering and the reinforced drive, just making it a little survivable brick. If those missiles had impacted and detonated, that would have been a denied decap there, so a little bit of difference there. Cleaver Flight is airborne. Already 10 bombers off the deck. How did they get so many bombers up so fast on these things? I do wonder. Just deck gear lockers and flight deck traversals over here. Has an intel center. Nice little investment there. Yeah, 10 bombers here outfitted with torpedoes. Act CMD validated with the ARAD Act as well. You're going to see over here a bunch of Naganatas finding some of these fighter craft and just seeing them off. Highball Flight is airborne. They've got themselves their anti-air loader, their own Naganatas there. You can see off the sundial as well. Ruby Flight kind of hanging back for the moment. That is a lot of bomber power that can do an incredible amount of work. The question is, how fast can they get onto a target here? D-point cap did go through. OSP frontline is starting to advance at this current point in time. E-point largely ignored right now. We could see some strike happening. You see a couple of these fighters kind of hanging around here. They do have the ability to ground pound some of these ships that we see on this flank, but it is on internet spaceships to decide if they want to commit over here or not with some of their capper assets. C-point is being currently overwatched by Flynn, already seeing the hold fire order issued, aiming at that point, wanting something to step onto it and then get destroyed by these T-20s and C-56s. Looks like a couple of missiles going off over here. One Naganata trying to find a Cleaver Flight over here. They had been detected briefly, so it's on the OSP air controlling now to set up the fighters to intercept that. See Slasher Flight airborne back here. They have Flechette and a bunch of the anti-air, so if they can move themselves upwards, they might be able to intercept onto that. Question is, how much does Hive Gender get airborne at the current time? We see they only have a couple of these Tantos going around. More of these bombers now being split off. We see a flight of 6 and a flight of 4 here as they're trying to commit onto other targets. Here comes a size 2 strike going after the frigate up top. Frigate is going to deflect most of that, but is going to walk into range of the 450 Bulker there. I think 450 Bulker had a brief line of sight on it. Does still have it, but has not been issued a attack order now. Flynn finally realizing what the target is that they want to be shooting at. This combination of soft kill escorting shuttle along with the multi-mission tug here, kind of interesting, seeing the talisman launcher brought along with the MLS-2. I like this tech quite a bit. Having the bulk mag and the reinforced mag means that they get a little bit of best of both worlds, able to fire off some of their early munitions since the bulk mag gets used first. Goblin Flight is airborne over here and does have that strike potential, but they're currently being zoned out by that jamming and the potential of there being anti-air munitions on board that tug. Carnage Flight hanging out nearby, potentially going on to C point in case something happens. Decap does go off here as Flynn walks one of their soft kill shuttles onto the point here. OSP frontline advances across the bottom of the map, going to be finding the Axford pair here from Tabby. Tabby putting their nose onto target, unloading the 450 rounds as fast as they can. Noticing there's this backpack of Tantos on this thing. Nice little tech there. Does need to slow down a bit for that one to get airborne. Bit of point defense interception is always kind of nice. Plus having a singular Tanto to just go shoot down something annoying like a little skip is quite welcome. Cleaver Flight is thinking about it, but still, that's a good chunk of point defense they have to go through. Highball Flight is over here, ready to defend this area. OSP is advancing onto the D point, securing themselves that third cap situation right now. ANS needs to make a play, and they need to start making it soon. They have a bunch of bombers airborne, but have not committed onto a target. Scape going to be trying to get something done over here with the 450 Axford squaring off against the 450 Broadsider over here. See if they get any work done or not. Slasher Flight fires off a couple of these missiles, trying to see if they can pick off Carnage Flight. Carnage going for the run here. 4 torpedo bombers unleashing their payloads. All the AMM's going to be deployed here, doing a little bit of work. Point defense guns get active as well. That's a good chunk of torpedo to get through. Last second attempt at Chap, but I don't think that's going to work in this case. Going to see torpedoes finding their way home here, doing some good damage. A couple of them do get soft killed. Still, structure break goes off, which is the important part. One of the guns has been brought down to red. That Axford in immediate position to follow up. But at the same time, Slasher Flight going for the intercept here. Heartbreak fires their own collection of munitions, so it's going to be a bit of a fist fight over the C point, what the light fighters committing. Carnage Flight trying to make it out of there, but unfortunately just one of them left alive. That is a bomber loss there, which is not something you really want to be doing, especially not in this early stage of the game where you still have more munitions to deliver. 2 frontline fights commence now as the Monitor Ball and the Axfords are... the Monitor Ball and the Axfords are going to square off, and the Acello is going to help out the Monitors getting onto target with a little bit of electronic warfare support from the nearby assets. Team 2 here, the OSP 1-800 got Hellbombed. Going to be doing a good job here. Still, these Axfords going to be dodge dancing for their life. Double Raider Drive along with the Whiplash here makes them quite evasive, so these 450s will not be able to find too much purchase at this distance. Still, the OSP is kind of looking like they might want to push up a little bit. We saw those bombers try and go for a run, but we're seen off there. The fistfight continues at the top of the map. Heartbreak Flight is airborne, but oh no, critically low on coil gun ammo. They could have splashed all this, but if they don't have any more shots left, they are going to get cleaned up. Slasher does have ammunition here. This is the strength and the weakness of the coil gun Tanto. It is very good for those 10 shots, but once it is used up that ammunition, it is incredibly vulnerable compared to the staying power of the 20 mil. A couple of reinforcing fighters might be able to help this out, but I think Heartbreak is just going to get cleaned up there. E-Point on this side is being overwatched right now as Flynn is doing a good job of keeping their coverage there. You see over here on the lower side of the map, there's a bit of the interactions there. Again, Flynn coming in here with the ship named Pyro. I wonder if there's anyone else. Oh, this is so cute. Duke of Stars, Scrubby, Blackbat, Stern, Pyrope, and Small Cake all being represented by Flynn here with a couple of those ships. I love seeing the Nebulous community being brought out in the namesakes here. 450 Axfords dodge dancing for their life. Again, the 2 Raider Drive and the Whiplash doing some good stuff there. The Berry Fleet over here, Blueberry, Raspberry, and Blackberry and Strawberry doing a pretty good job dodge dancing themselves. These are equipped with Double Drive, Yard Drive, and Sun Drive, making them quite evasive. Both teams are kind of firing their rounds off, not getting the most purchase. Octavia does take a little bit of heat there. Rebecca doing a pretty good job avoiding the brunt of the aggression. So both teams are kind of outside the effective gun range they want to get at. If they close into a little bit more of fisticuffs range, it could be much more lethal. Question is, does the OSP want to advance, or are they happy with the current 3-cap situation? C-Point has been kept neutral. Oh no, Tavi unfortunately getting a disconnect there. Oh, ripperonis. We do have a rule that if you disconnect within the first minute of the game, and then we will do a rehost, but unfortunately this is just the nature of the current situation. Scapegoat does inherit this. Scapegoat running the solo frontline now role of the team. They've got themselves 3 Axfords and a rail detachment to manage. Honestly, not completely impossible. 3 Axfords is something you can kind of set up with orbit commands, but still not something you want to see. Rip-a-ronies for the ANS side there. Yeah. Can I get some Fs in the chat, please? All right, OSP elects to pull back, recognizing they've got a decent situation. They're just trying to make themselves scarce right now. Go, Pyro Up, Go is the call as they're trying to see if the little Capper shuttle can make its way down to B point. There is a good number of fighter craft nearby, seeing these things are outfitted with KB-15 bombs. Trying to do some interception of these Naginata missiles here using their 20 mils. Oh, having some authorization issues there. They try to like intercept and having just like a bit of a mixed kind of... Ooh, that was going to be some damage there. Yeah, half of that fighter flight, I think, just getting taken out by Naganatas there. Went from, looked like 12 down to just 6, or perhaps was being reinforced from behind. Hard to say exactly. The fighter UI can be a little ambiguous sometimes. Still, Heartbreak Flight is going to live up to their name as they are heartbroken by all of these incoming munitions. Highball Flight deciding that it wants a piece of the action, just committing on target with those missiles. Joker Flight nearby, trying to do some stuff. ANS not getting the air control presence they really want. Black Bat doing a good job these flights of a dozen Barracudas, intercepting everything that they can on the board right now. You saw them doing a good job up on the seaside there. C point has been capped by the small cake here, controlled by Flynn, making its way over on then securing that point. As a 4-cap situation for the OSP. OSP enters the second quarter of the game and is still in the first quarter. We see now finally Internet Spaceships committing one of their assets onto the E point. We'll see if Flynn is in position to intercept this or not. It is detected and will be followed up pretty quickly by this multi-mission tug, if I had to guess. Does not have the most in terms of size 2s, but should have a little bit left there. Eyeball Flight down here looks like it's committed onto something or other. I'm going to see a singular fighter over here just trying to dodge through these little asteroid drills as the soft kill shuttle is going to be making its way onto B point. Kind of interesting. Does this thing still have mines? No, it does not. Deploy its mines all the way back on the A point for the initial secure. E point does look like it goes into the hands of the ANS over here. There is the pit boss nearby, which is going to see off these light threats. Yeah, the size 2 is going to be fired onto target. Command with the self-screening jammer going to make it a very, very difficult target to shoot down, especially with those defenders not able to get fire control lock. They should be able to see off this light capper forcing the pit boss to sit onto target. Oh, defender will see a couple of them, but not quite what they want to see. There you go. Last second lock, swing, and 3 hits there. Finally seeing those size 2s do what size 2s are supposed to, see off these light capper threats. Reinforced drive does keep it alive as the reactor was shot out. Still, though, that thing is going to have to put itself back together over the next couple of minutes. Soft kill ship doing its best to try and stay evasive here as the pit boss will secure the E point side. B-cap looking like it might go through here. Wasp Blade does go for a strike there. Finally manages to get hit on target. There we go. Bombs looking like they're going to take out this thing in its entirety. Yep, the KB-15 and KB-22 bombs going to impact that thing. The Pyro will go down on the B point, not securing a 3-cap for the OSP. In turn, though, Highball Flight might be saying something about this. They are loosely aware of where the enemy carriers are and probably looking to get a fight out. Let's take a look at the skies right now. Critical lack of anything coming here from Hive Gender. There's like, what, 8, 9 Tantos currently airborne, most of them going back, trying to rearm and reload. Tantos are queuing up for pre-flight, but I think Hive Gender are just kind of not getting the assets airborne they need to. Highball Flight will find the carriers here in a second or so if they continue on this axis. Already seeing them now getting some interception missiles off going just into these guys. This will soft lock the carriers for a little bit. RPF rounds are trickling in from above here. Some of the batteries from, I believe it was the Rebecca had secondary? Yes, secondary batteries there, but still going to be the carriers getting jumped on here, and now Highball Flight just kicks on their 35mm guns, going to clear the skies here and soft block this area. OSP should recognize the situation, try and capitalize. We see their front line had pulled back after pushing the D side, electing to go over here, trying to get some strikes onto the pit boss. Pit boss has been greeted, and unfortunately, when you don't have enough point defense, those KB-22s will find you. Bam! A crippling strike being put into the pit boss right now. It is completely gutted through the midsection there. Mark 65 survives along with the CIC and drive. Not the CIC and the magazine there, but still, that's a lot of firepower. And now the entire front line is going to open up on that thing and see it off. That is not what you want to see happen. Eyeball Flight, in turn, just sitting on top of the carriers right now, soft locking them. There is no fighter presence on the board available for the ANS at this current time. ANS needs to do something, and they need to do it soon. Rails on those Axfords need to get into action. Unfortunately, the OSP frontline was given the opportunity to just rotate over away from the current engagement, deciding we don't need to take this fight against these 3 Axfords and this rail ship. Instead, we can just rotate, double back. We have a numbers advantage, and we can quickly see off one of these greeted Axford anti-light assets. This thing will end up going critical in, never mind, a fuel line fire going to be going on. It's still technically a critical event, but not the reactor bloom we know and love. Cobra Flight over here got a very good R1 strike and KB-22 follow-up. So, ANS does still have ways of getting back in the game, but they need to start acting on them and fast. Their Axfords are currently realizing, oh shit, we have been dropping the ball. We need to get into position. There is nothing we are currently engaged on, and OSP is being given free run of the map at this time. They need to push onto that D point and secure it. Seeing internet spaceships trying to move around the map with whatever capper assets they can. All their various assets are currently under threat as these fighters that are just kind of roaming the map with their R1s could potentially pick off any of these. Also saw a very good cap control play here from Flynn, able to do some work with the multi-mission tug and then the jamming escort. Might have to steal that tech myself. Eyeball Flight is slowly getting picked off here. A couple of these anti-craft munitions will be doing their jobs. They are fairly low on ammunition, but at the same time, they're keeping these carriers soft-locked here, trying to do anything. Taking a look at the flight decks, yeah, they have bombers that are in pre-flight, trying to get some Tantos out, but, like, just the sheer amount of damage, like, Aena's basically deplaned here, has a couple of bombers, but, like, that is a crippling amount. If we take over at Black Bat's inventory, still has plenty of fighter craft to get off the deck. They are completing their pre-flight checks right now. More strike to come out. ANS does not have the craft defense they need. They've used quite a few of their intercepting munitions, and now while they do get some of their fighters out with the 20mm guns, they are trying to use some of their shots off here. Highball will probably be seen off here if they're able to engage on target or not. 2 fighters against 4 means that the ANS should have the advantage, as well as these things being a little damaged to begin with. There we go. Highball finally being seen off. Bombers will be able to get off the deck here, but still, that is a lot of damage dealt to the ANS side. Oh no, and just when things were looking up, Splinter Flight is committing on target. The relief force is fully equipped with anti-air munitions here. Naginata's very good against any of these fighter craft they're going to find, and they have a full complement of 35mm gun rounds. All right, E-point here. Scrubbers is going to be moving their way onto a couple of those Naginatas, trying to get interception down here. We'll see if they're able to find purchase or not into Splinter Flight. A couple of them flying evasively. One fighter will get picked off. Looks like another one will as well. Potentially a third one, trying to do some intercept, dodging, dancing. 3 fighters go down, but still 9 of them will survive to go on and take the advantageous fight against the 6 fighter craft in the backfield there. Flynn, unfortunately, losing their front thrusters here means that they do drift outside of the point. Just taking a look here, you can see it now. One of the front thrusters goes down there. OSP frontline has now split off. Ocello is going to be rotating back over here to engage against the Ocello. The Ocellos engage against the Axers here. Octavia going to be taking a little bit of heat there. The colon 3 and the little less than 3 icons here doing a good job putting some 450 into target. They are now seeing what happens when the ANS frontline rotates over. Going to be getting some 450 downrange. At the same time, Scapegoat trying to be everywhere at once, splitting off their axes, knows they need to do some aggression. More of these size 2s, again, trying to clean up the map. ANS is not having a good time. Many of their assets bled out here. Hive Gender basically deplaned at this time. Internet Spaceships is getting picked off left, right, and center by R1 rocket strikes from the Barracudas, and now the relentless aggression from Flynn going through and seeing what they can do about the lighter assets here. You can see these size 2s will find the way into the lead, completely guts at the front of it, and the gunfire from good measure from Duke of Stars here. Duke of Stars, Berry Fleet rotating around the map, trying to find some assets they can get into. A couple of torpedoes being sent out here. The bulk freighter that was seen structure broken early is still technically alive. Tried to get a bit of work done. Unfortunately, going to find some torpedoes into it. That is a lot of damage as every damage ray gets sent into something on the ship. 450s and the 250s having a little bit of a rough go there. Bit of flak being dealt into the Claymore bomber in exchange. Well, not completely out of it. ANS definitely falling behind right now. Splinter Flight continuing to clean the skies. A couple of these torpedoes being attempted to fire off here, denying the B cap here as we see the stern is going to get struck here. Does not have the tools he needs to deflect these incoming missiles. Smack 1 to the nose, smack 2 to the nose. Does manage to soak it, and the damage control team does stay alive, so it will actually drift onto the point and possibly cap this. Carriers could move onto the point to maybe contest it, but as long as you can fix that CIC and get yourself like back in the game, you should be fine. Ballista Flight does eventually look like it's going to clean up Splinter here, I think. Maybe not, actually. No, the Flight going to get cleaned up right as I say that. Splinter is alive right now with its guns. We'll see it checkmate here, which is currently unable to do anything. Is that a total deplaning? 2 bombers left in one, nothing in the other. What you see is what you got. You got a sundial on the map over here, and that is it for ANS fighter craft. Duke of Stars now coming around the corner and engaging a nasty plasma salvo into the broadside of the Noctis over here. Noctis not wanting to find this broadside plasma exposure. C-90 also going to do a decent chunk of damage once it adds up. Instead, they're going after the Ake Cross, the little screening missile frigate here. We'll see just how fast they can take that thing out with his T-30s. Scrub is doing a good job over here. They've got themselves kind of nose onto target, seeing if they can't focus fire down the Rebecca at this current time, moving around the moored. In the back, we see Scapegoat does have their rail ships trying to get onto these Ocellos. Ocellos not presenting the full nose towards those rail ships. Actually, the right call there. Normally, you do want to be bow tanking with assets like this, but if you continuously are taking rail fire, sometimes presenting broadside is the best since you will take less damage overall with the missiles, not the missiles, the rails stacking up. A couple of KB-22s thinking about doing some work over here on the Octavia. Octavia is showing that it does in fact have point defense, so Cyclone Flight will pull back briefly for the moment. You You see Whistler Flight is also airborne with a bunch of bombs. Air Control Missile Frigate here managing to make its way all the way onto the A point, trying to walk onto this and avoid those sprint mines, which are dangerously close, but not quite close enough. This thing will fire off pretty much its entire payload of anti-craft munitions and get a couple of purchases there. Yeah, it was the dozen or so of Whistler now getting bled down to just 5, maybe even less. Take a look around the map. You see the front lines continue to engage. It's kind of L shape here, forcing a unfortunate nature here. Scapegoat has to decide which angle they want to bow tank into. You bow tank into one, the other will open up on you, assuming they are in position. Still, 3 Axfors and nothing to shrug your head at. Octavia over here maybe going to get run up. Whistler Flight does think about this. Cyclone as well. Cyclone actually bingoed on fuel, having to go back here. We'll see if 10 KB-22s can pen this Axford point defense net. Is detected, is locked up, has lost one of its defenders. Doesn't have anything in arc. Does have 2 defenders here by the looks of it. Will find Whistler Flight on approach here. They're getting a little too dangerously close. Going to see them pulled back as Black Bat realizes discretion is the better part of valor and is going to quickly regroup and find more things that they can unload onto. Splinter will be cleaning the skies up as the last of the bombers got airborne and were taxed there. E point is in the hands of the OSP. OSP comfortably sitting on 632 points with a 3 cap. 734 points for the A and a D side there, just a 2 cap currently going for the colon 3 and Meow Gang. Octavia does make its play to move over towards A side, trying to sit on that one. Blackback kind of down here in the bottom of the map, could be potentially shot up. They are detected. The question is, what exactly has them in gun range? Does the Octavia see them, yes or no? Looks like it is trying to rotate over, but unfortunately does not have the position it wants to be. Instead, it's going to be finding Scrubbers here, rotating their guns on to engage it instead. Raspberry Fleet, the Berry Fleet from Duke of Stars pulling back a little ways here. They had gotten some crippling damage to the Noctis, stripping this thing with all the plasma. Going to see the internals just completely messed up. No restores left. This thing has been defanged and declawed. Your choice of words there. Will not fire another 450 shot in anger. Things are looking bad for the ANS right now. A couple more of these Naganatas probably going to be finding a Duster Flight here. 2 of them going to swing, try and hit. Looks like a bit of a miss there. Might get them on the go-around. Lazy rotations. These guys are looking to get some KB-22 or R1 strike off on the Trash Livid here, which does not have any point defense. Seeing if they can get some of these missiles off. A couple of them going to find purchase here. R1's actually going to overshoot as it quickly manages to dodge just at the last second out of the way. B-cap is going off as the carrier has stepped onto the point. These shuttles have been cleaned up back here by a couple of assets, so good to see at least they can get something back into the game. Still, though, OSP with a comfortable point lead and frontline presence. And us just having a rough go right now. They've got 2 healthy-ish Axfords. The Rebecca now taking the plasma brunt and the frontline role as the Berry Fleet has elected to roam over and unload onto it. Also seeing the bulk freighter here that got clearly armor stripped at some point by Reactor Blue. It is opening up with its broadside and its T-20s here. You got T-20s, C-56s, and C-65. You got 100 mil, you got 250, and you got 450 all going into this plasmid armor facing. No wonder this thing has suffered so much damage. There is so many fleets opening fire on it. Whistler Flight, again, thinking about it, did some R1 strike here by the looks of it. Don't see any major damage dealt to the Octavia. Did lose the topside workshop in the chat box or so, but it has not gotten the bomb strikes that they were looking for. 450 from the nose here from the colon 3, going to be doing some good work. The less than 3 also trying to get some stuff done. Looks like it's suffering a little bit of damage there to its magazine. Unfortunately, trying to get some priority restores here, not electing to fix your magazine instead. Minor micro error there as they probably are trying to get everything back up and operational. Taking a look around here, I think this might be the ANS on a slow bleed out. Once again, the carriers here just have absolutely nothing they can do. The last plane is currently heading back there, and Splinter Flight is pretty happy just to hang out back here for the moment. They have plenty of fuel, a little bit of ammunition left, so they will clean up that sundial when it inevitably makes its way back. ANS potentially could swing some points here. If they can get onto the cap points here and keep them for a little bit, they could do some good work. Unfortunately, it looks like the strike is going to go through here. R1 is going to be finding purchase. There we go. Does not quite break through the Axford armor immediately, but with enough of them, they will. There we go. Seeing the belly gun getting taxed there. I believe that is enough to... Yep, looks like they are missing power critically, forcing now the bombs onto target. Let's see what kind of damage these KB-22s can get done. Respectable amount there, completely gutting out the reactor section here, also taking the rest of the ship with it. Structure break has happened. CIC is still technically alive. 2 restores left, kept alive in the front of this thing, but that is a decided frontline fight right there. Seeing also the crit going off for the overloading reactor. 450 from the less than 3 and the colon 3 going to be pounding away at this thing. All right, the Rebecca is as well over here, just completely gutted in terms of its systems. No restores left on this. That is all of the ANS frontline that has been bled. They can walk onto a point, but still OSP approaching that fourth quarter now. This is probably going to be it, Chief. I don't want to call it quite exactly yet because I have seen some very interesting reversals. That KB-22 is roaming a little close for comfort. Potentially friendly fire incident there after a overshot. Whoopsies. That would have been an interesting thing to explain in the post-game. The Rebecca here is just taking all of this 100 mil HE fire as well as the C90s. Respect to ANS, not giving up the Ghost fully, trying to move one of the carriers over here, potentially go for an E back cap, expecting it kind of to be open. We're seeing, though, the Bulk Freighter here moving downwards, probably going to try and sit itself onto the B point, cleaning up anything that can nearby, discovers one of the carriers over here, carry with 2 damage control teams and a single restore. Not that it really matters, since there's nothing they need to keep alive other than thrive in the CIC in these. And it's not looking that great for the OSP at this, or ANS at this moment. Plane moving back one of their radar jamming, actually just interception, UR, whatever you want to call it, assets. Radars are off on this one. Scapegoat electing to call GG, recognizing situation. That will be a meow throwing in the towel. Colon 3 has been eliminated from the tournament. 1-800 got hellbombed, will be advancing on to the finals here. So I have been NekoboyBlue. This has been a fantastic best of 3 series. Hats off to the players and the actions they do. Reactor Bloom for good measure at the end. We will be going into post-game discussions after we review a bit of the damage boards here, just showing off what people achieved. All right, let's take a look at these. Tavi unfortunately got hit by the disconnect bat, meaning that their Axfors were inherited. Hive Gender here trying to get some work done. Claymores did get some good purchases here. Tantos tried to do a little bit of stuff, but unfortunately got deplaned there by some good interceptions. Black Bat doing really good air controller work, but to get some good strikes off once they had established local superiority in the battle space. And his spaceship's trying to do some work. Unfortunately, we saw what happens when an entire frontline rotates onto a lone Axford like this, especially when it kind of run in the greedy style of the pit boss configuration. Escape and had to inherit the fleet from, I believe it was Tavi up there at the top. And yeah, it's a little difficult trying to run an unfamiliar fleet and 3 Axfords there that unfortunately just did not find the fights they wanted. Rails tried to get some purchase on target, but just could not quite get it. Dukastar is doing very well with the Monitor quartet on the front line there, the Berry fleet representing. Also seeing Fling coming here with the little name-dropped fleets and stuff in here. Yeah, 450 Bulker doing a good job on that high seas. GG's, well played, and that will be 1-800 got hellbombed advancing. And yeah. Post-game time. All right, let's head over to the event stage and hear what they have to say for the post-game. Where is that event stage? There we go. Enable the audios now.
I guess the Catboy has to go up, technically.
Has to. Hey, how come last weekend I wasn't allowed up into the event stage?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Vostal has granted me uppies. Thank you.
I see.
And I believe that is everyone. Is there anyone I'm missing from the players? I take that as a no. Well, thank you all for playing. How did you find your matches?
Well, the first one was much better than the other ones, if I do say so myself.
You guys should have just spammed fucking boxes again.
We figured you guys would do monitors.
Game two, we were considering running a fleet concept called the Grug Cellos, but we thought better of it.
We
should have just went for it.
Was that what? Just all fucking cellos, or
It's Plaz 250 cellos.
how many Auroras does it have?
0.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Yeah, no, we would've
I
just
think that
died.
probably still would have gone the same way.
Yeah.
Then
The missiles really did just fuck the front line on that match.
it's milking time.
Right. No, we hadn't identified that was an Axford when we started pushing into A with the monitors in a cello, and by the time we had ID'd it as an Axford and realized what it was, it's just like, yeah, well, we can't really do anything about that other than die. So
For context on the third game, my part of the city has lost power, so we're just living in the dark ages over here now. That's why I happened to leave.
Oh, you sound like you're
handed. I was already using an Axford rail fleet that I had never played before, and then I was handed 2 other Axfords that I had never played before. So
sorry.
You
that
never
was
played before? Oh no.
the type of a design that I'd never played before. Yeah. And also I had no sensors on that side of the map. Yeah, I kept losing track of the enemy, and I wasn't getting pretty much any fire down range at all.
Which match?
Third.
This-
Yeah,
Oh, you're
Well, that's-
fucking the powers just come back on. I
Duke.
swear to
Duke,
fucking
what's the
God.
name of that fleet again?
Salty
This
about that
one,
DC.
separate,
I think
jam
we.
jams.
I think
Exactly.
No,
we
it
would've
wasn't
had-
jamming. It wasn't jamming.
Mm.
I
It was
just
like lack
we
of
just
sensors.
it was yeah lack of.
We
sensor
brought
asset
no
back then.
sensors the first match, which I think is like a big contributing factor. But also we split up and let the voxels get cross angles on us. It was so messy. It was really messy.
Right.
You guys played that so well.
Yeah. Well,
We-
the last match
we're all-
was your guys' experience. Messy.
I think
yeah.
we would have done much better if we hadn't had that DC 10 minutes in.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that
that's
really kind of
unfortunate.
screwed us. We
I did-
we kind of
Yeah,
lost all
Honestly-
coordination after that.
I feel like
feel
we'd
like
already lost by that
The
point.
game was pretty
be
established
honest,
by
yeah.
the time DC
It
happened.
was not going well.
But
Mm,
that
it
definitely
would have gone a
help.
lot
It
better
sucks
for
that
us.
happens.
Yeah, no,
I do think a part of it was just like we didn't have the same coordination. We didn't have the same jive as we did first
In the
game,
first.
especially. But like also when we had Nat, there was the jive wasn't quite the same.
That's true.
Yep, sorry. I did my best. I'm sorry.
I don't think it's like that you were worse. I think it's that you were different.
Right.
You know?
Which is why, which was one of my worries when I got the invite to sub for you guys. I'm like, shit, I'm gonna be out of the loop in terms of team tactics. The team that I'm subbing for has already had 4 other games that they've played. Like they know each other. I don't. It sucks.
No, we did well for last minute sub in.
That is true. Yeah, it did help that just by sheer coincidence, I do play a lot of the fleets that Natasha was playing in your guys' team comp, or at least similar
Alrighty.
fleets.
One question I'd like to put forward is to the 2 carrier players. How did you guys find playing carriers?
I
those,
hate my
3
team.
rounds?
Oh,
I hate my team.
y'all did a really good job at deplaning me. That was scary.
We did
My
nothing
team
to protect
didn't care
Black
about
Bat.
me.
We
Genuinely
literally
terrible
just let him
carrier.
die.
Disown
First.
child.
Listen, dude, if you can't protect
Put me up
yourself,
for
what are you
adoption,
doing?
bro.
I think if I knew how those games were going to go, and I had just held all of my craft in reserve until we found and killed your carrier.
Yeah,
Huh.
that could be
Well, the first one, I don't blame Black for dying. We rushed you with CLs and threw you guys off balance. Like, that was our tactic, and it worked. The last one where I was shooting at your carrier, that was in an overextended Axford that was all alone, had no protection, no SDMs at all. It was it had 120 sidearms as well, so its hard kill was garbage. And that was my
Also,
last
how many
desperate attempt to do
SDMs did
something.
you have? Because I was like, I'm like, okay, I can
On
kill
one
the
of the
Axford
ads?
easily, and then like 20 million SDMs fell from the
That-
sky.
That's my
I think that
Axford
was-
fleet, actually, the Axford Rails. It has like 30 SDMs.
It has a lot.
I also had 10 or 11 SDMs on each of my frigs, my cap fleet frigs, because I was
That's where the other SDMs came in.
yeah. I was
On-
just
yeah.
like, I'm not. I hate craft spam, so I'm just gonna try and put as
Right.
much SDM as I can in my cap fleet. But it didn't really matter, so. Unfortunately, I also ended up firing a bunch of them into a wall because, like automatic. they
Yeah,
just do
SDM
that.
logic does that, and it sucks. I've lost an uncountable amount of SDMs to my point defense controller deciding that the rock right next to me is an aircraft and needs 30 SDMs in it.
Exactly. And the other thing was I was like, okay, I gotta like watch out for the MMT. If I'm not looking out for the MMT, I'm gonna like get hit by, like just freaking size 2s. So I had to leave it on Doctrine and just, no.
Right.
I got around. GG's.
See ya.
GG.
Well, yeah. I think all things considered, we did pretty good.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate 1-800 got Hellbound for their victory. They'll be heading on to the finale next
Oh,
week
God.
on the 29th. And
You guys are up against limos.
yes,
Yeah,
they'll be
it's
playing
very
against Limos. And
We should,
thank you to the members of Colon 3 for participating in the tournament. You made it to the semifinals. Pretty damn good showing. And thank you all for playing.
Yeah, good job.
Vastal, can we do the finals in bar, please?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
With
I
that, I'm
will-
going to be removing Scrubbus from the stage. Thank
I
you
will
all.
be reverting to casting mode next weekend for the tourney.
Mhm.
Unless some
And,
other team needs to sub. No, I can't sub anymore because I was on colon 3. So
I hope
If,
you enjoyed playing with our team though. Escape.
yeah, no, it was great.
Yeah.
It was fun.
If
Sorry,
we
I
try-
can't do more to help you, but
Oh, you did
And I'll be
good.
disbanding this. So stay safe, everyone,
No,
and avoid hard
Vastal,
narcotics.
wait, no.
What? What am I waiting for? What am I waiting for?
If we tie against Limos, can it be decided by who's sent the most seal pictures?
No.